I definitely would go for one of the places which are kind of overlooked, because that whole investment environment currently is very much geared towards kind of e-commerce or demand from retailers. So I would choose a location, for example, like Munich, which has a very strong base also from manufacturing tenants, and a lot of them are not, very sexy. They often have weak covenants and more difficult to assess. But you also have blue chip tenants like BMW and things like that around, and you get a bit of a discount because it's not flavor of the month, and you also are invested in a sector where in Europe we kind of see a bit of a sea change in terms of that more manufacturing is actually staying into Europe or even coming back to Europe. So manufacturing locations like Munich, but also like Milan, where you have a significant yield play on top of it, probably would be my first choice.
Okay, good. James, how would you spend 500 million euros? Invest, rather, is a better term. Because otherwise this conversation could go in a very different route.
Trying to think about what I've told everyone over the last 12 months. What have we got to sell next month? I'm going to leave it slightly obtuse and not be too specific, other than to say just be very closely aligned to a core group of occupiers and really understand what they want to do, and you'll be able to figure out the rest from there, I think.
And looking at the market, if you could only do one location, where would that be?
Only one location. I think there might be some quite good mileage in and around Prague at the moment for the right opportunity.
Okay, interesting. Mike, head office in Prague.
Well, for us, I've said it before. I mean, and it's hedging it slightly. All areas across the territories that we're in where we can find very good value-add opportunities, and that is spreading it relatively evenly across the territories. And I concur totally. That has to be sticking close to where. Although, I mean, we've got 60 occupiers that we stick very closely to, and it'd be led by where they're wanting to go as well. If you had to push me on location number one, obviously as managing director of the UK, I want it all to be in the UK.
Very good. That's an excellent PR message for that. So, okay, UK, but in general, you would look at an even spread across the territories.
Yeah, and there are different types of, they all have value-add angles. There are different types of things you'll do in different areas, and some you'll be looking more towards land opportunities. Some you'll be looking, at the UK higher up the risk curve, but in Central Europe we haven't had the yield compression as much as we had here, and there are different types of opportunities you can see there. Okay, good. Mo, finally, how would you invest my 500 million? Would you leverage to $1 billion, or would you?
Even more. No.
Even more?
No. I would ask you a couple of questions. I would ask you, what is your appetite for risk? What's your investment horizon? What's your appetite for leverage? So all of those would have implications. So clearly trying to understand your objectives better, but clearly there are established markets, and I think there are certain assets that are at the moment still have some room to run. If you're looking for long-term core, I would focus on the core markets. I would acquire in Germany, I would acquire in Benelux. I think the corridor from Amsterdam, Antwerp, running into the heart of Rhine-Ruhr, going into Frankfurt, central Germany, will continue to be the number one spot where occupiers will have demand over the next 5 years. So I think that corridor is a solid corridor from an occupier perspective. If you have more of a value-added appetite, I would look at maybe doing some forward funding, or maybe identifying occupiers that need to grow their network and become their capital partner, forward fund with them, or acquire secondary stock. So it really depends. We need to spend more time together.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for attending and your contributions, and thank you very much to the panel. Thank you.